Could Syfe Equity100 be one of the best ways you can get invested with dollar cost averaging into global equities? Now you realize this whole sentence is so defined, correct? Global equities, dollar cost average. Why am I going so specific? This video is a collaboration with Syfe. And whilst looking at this whole portfolio, I want to give you also what kind of angles would they be possibly very outstanding. That's why in today's video, I'll be running a few key parts. Firstly, I'll help you understand this portfolio. I'll show you what it has done. You decide for yourself whether it's the best fit for you. Secondly, I'll actually show you a strategy that I've recently kind of crafted it out on how you can actually get invested with $5,000, this unique strategy using this portfolio, which is Equity100. So without further ado, let me show you some details of it. Syfe Equity100 annual average return for the last 10 years is 14.2%. Take note, this is a back-tested result, which means this is not actual performance. This portfolio is only a year old or so. Starting fees from 0.4%. Later I'll run through the tiering structure of things. Portfolio currency is US dollar because a lot of the ETFs are listed in US. Minimum investment sum? None. That is a crucial factor. And of course, this snapshot, perfect for dollar cost averaging by Mr. Mark Chua, psychologist. So I'll actually take that idea and run it a bit further for you. So let's look at performance. This, after all, is an equity portfolio. So make sure, when it comes to equity investing, volatility is very high. Some years they'll be negative. No doubt, like 2013, it did 30%. 2019, it did 30%. 2020, 20% thereabouts, but 2018 was a loss year. So when it comes to equity investing, there's volatility. Make sure it's okay with you. So in this section, I actually run through what Syfe Equity100 really is. It's really a portfolio of ETFs. And the key part of what you should understand before investing is this criteria over here. They've mentioned it. I'll highlight a few key parts. Broad and cost-effective, that's an approach. Growth, looking for large caps. And low volatility tilt. Now, when you buy a portfolio, you're leaving it to the portfolio managers' good hands to find what kind of allocations. This is similar to buying a fund that is global equity. Because when you buy a fund, this global equity fund, the fund manager buys stocks all over the world. They can buy Tencent in China, they can buy Apple in US. They are able to search global for names to piece into their portfolio. So in a lot of ways, when you buy a portfolio, you're leaving it to the good hands of the fund manager. These key concepts, whether it's aligned with what you're looking at. And if it is comfortable, there are two other parts that I would like to suggest you take note of. First is that equity investments are volatile. Make sure it's suitable for your risk appetite. And the last part is you have the right investment patience, the right investment time frame. Equity investing and whichever portfolio needs time to perform. Let's move on. I'll help you analyze this portfolio. Now, when I analyze a portfolio, I tend to look in terms of history, what has been done, to get a good sensing of the style. And this chart really shows some ideas that we should take note of. Now, this chart was actually produced in April 2021. This is actually very recent, which means the current weightage was before the change and the new weightage carries forward from April 2021. What do we see? I'd like to highlight for you firstly. Invesco QQQ Trust, QQQ's weightage was reduced from 30.2% to 20%. And that's actually in favor of this Invesco S&P 500 equal weight ETF. The weightage was previously 0, but now it's 17%. So I've actually some charts to show you things. The first one, Invesco QQQ. This actually is an ETF managed by Invesco. They invest in the top 100 tech companies in US. And of course, who's the top tech player there? Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, Facebook. Pretty predictable, the biggest 100. And conversely, what exactly is Invesco S&P 500 equal weight ETF? Equal weight actually means that each and every component of this 500 is given a small allocation. How much? 0.24, 0.25. As you can see, every company there is weighted the same. Now, why this whole necessary change? Let me try to explain for you. And before I get there, smash your like button. It's taken our team hours to look through these and really help you understand things a bit deeper. Some things that you can't find readily on the internet. Now let me pull out for you the charts between these two approaches. The first, of course, is QQQ, which focuses on the top 100 tech companies. The second is S&P equal weight, which has all industries and all with the same weight. If you look in terms of a 5-year performance, tech has obviously done much better, correct? That is the purple line over there. The shaded green line is the equal weightage one. But what do you realize if we focus on in the year-to-date performance for 2021? You realize that the purple line has done relatively flat, correct? Technology has stopped. Amazon share price hasn't climbed that much, Apple share price hasn't climbed that much. The main difference is the green one. The rest of the listed companies in US has actually done better than the big 100. Cyclical changes sometimes is due to value, sometimes it's due to sentiment. But what we can see over here is the green shaded is now picking up way faster than the purple line. They believe this trend might be persisting for a while, and that's why they've allocated this whole 17% into it. And that's the real juice. If you want to choose a portfolio, then let the portfolio run its algorithms and do the adjustments for you. Now, the next part of what this portfolio can be analyzed for is now they've actually introduced China through ETFs, two ETFs, MSCI China ETF with the ticker MCHI, as well as Crane Shares CSI China Internet ETF, KWEB. Weightage of these two is 16+%. And let me pull out for you to quickly see what is represented in these two ETFs. In MSCI China ETF, that's MCHI, you realize that Tencent Holding is the biggest, correct? Alibaba second, Meituan is third. And what about for Crane Shares CSI China Internet ETF? You realize that same thing, Tencent, Alibaba, Meituan is there. But the key difference is there are a lot more internet players. You see Pinduoduo, you see Baidu, you see Trip.com. So these two ETFs really gives this whole portfolio a Chinese tilt to things. Something very unusual, something that I also believe in because I've reviewed Chinese funds before. I've looked at China and I believe long-term wise there could be a much better value. So all in all, can you buy this whole portfolio? Let me answer that question for you. Yes, you actually can. You can go and pick up each and every one of these ETFs and buy it yourself. But it's just a little bit tedious. And if you think, hey, if it's a little bit tedious, and I've covered 4 ETFs with you, which is firstly QQQ, S&P 500 equal weight, MSCI China, which is MCHI ticker, and KWEB. You could just focus on these 4. It's a very interesting thought that I had. Maybe you just focus on these 4 since they are good, or you can play around with it. Then you don't need to replicate the whole portfolio. Also possible, different approach. But the main thing is there are still benefits when you buy a portfolio like that with the Syfe Equity100. First things, there's no minimum, which means you can just buy $1,000. You can break down everything. If you buy 4 ETFs, you do have minimums even, not to say 10 ETFs. The second, there's brokerages. Every trade, there are brokerages. But you buy a portfolio, you save on that, which is pretty good. And third, of course, dividend reinvestment. So if you want, dividends to be reinvested automatically, you want compounding, then getting a portfolio delivers that for you. I've also checked with the team on dividend, withholding tax and stuff. It's actually handled by the platform or the ETF. You don't have to handle that. And also in terms of estate taxes, let me pull up something for you in their FAQ to show you that they actually have a method for it. Rather than you buy the ETF and you hold it yourself, there are actually certain tax rules. I can't elaborate too much further because I'm not an expert in tax anyway. But look for the FAQ, you realize that when you have it structured within a portfolio, it saves you all this hassle. So with that done, let me show you exactly the pricing tier. They have again 3 tiers, blue, black and gold. You realize that the smallest tier is blue, no minimums. Blue, 0.65%. Black, which is anything above 20,000, is 0.5%. And gold, of course, is anything above 100,000. So again, find an amount that fits you. But if you are looking for a small amount, then the next section is something that you might find really interesting. So this section, strategy on how you can invest $5,000, or if you have 10,000, just simply double the numbers that I'll be presenting to you. Now I took this challenge to look at this whole portfolio to really come up with a special angle on why I would buy. And I realized this could be a real special way to do things. Hang on with me on that. Now, quite simply, if you're looking for equity ideas, so many markets, there's funds, there's portfolios, there's so many stuff. You can even buy ETFs yourself. But you realize if you buy lump sum 5,000, that's a very simple approach. The next you can do is you buy $1,000 lump sum and then do a regular investing, monthly regular investing into a fund, a global unit trust fund. 4 months of 1,000 recurring because gyro needs time, and 1,000 right now. Then you can invest 5,000 with a spend. But today I have something to present to you. What if you invest 1,000 first, and instead of monthly gyro, you put 16 weekly regular transfers? What does it actually deliver? And how come this portfolio can do that? There's a few key strengths again. First, no minimums. Second, brokerage charge is waived. So how is it actually done? Let me run you through. Firstly, set up your portfolio in Syfe itself. You realize that look for Equity100, you can create that portfolio. And the next part, let's put a name to things. Weekly regular investing. Lump sum, let's put 1,000 to start things with. And monthly regular investing. Instead of the usual 1,000 when you buy with a monthly gyro, We still input here 1,000, but that's optional again. The next part is you would actually set up this portfolio and get the account code, which I'll highlight for you to see. Now this is my account code. Of course, when you set up, you have one unique portfolio reference number. So this is key. When the money fits into the portfolio buys things. Then next, you actually simply go to your iBanking. For me, I use OCBC. So if you use OCBC, quite simple. The steps are almost identical. But iBanks, I'm sure most of them actually have this recurring transfer. So simply look for recurring transfer, add in weekly frequency, and then next put in $250 per week instead of 1,000 per month. Then that's why 16 times in total, correct? 4 times 4. Input the portfolio reference number so that they know to tag it to this portfolio they've created. So when you go back to Syfe, you actually see this weekly regular investing portfolio is still awaiting funds. So once they receive it, they actually place trades that very day or if not the next. So the interesting part of why weekly regular investing might make a bit of difference is this over here. I realized something. What happened in the start of 2020? The market crashed down severely, correct? This is the Nasdaq index itself. Mid of Feb, it actually crashed all the way to mid of March. The whole span of things, about 5 weeks, top to bottom, loss of 30%. Subsequent weeks, it actually recovered. So from 9,000 plus, it dropped all the way to 6,008. So that's a very fast fall. And what do I realize in advising clients and stuff is regular investing, some of them captured February and March and April, but then there was only 3 packets allocated. The rebound was so fast, so monthly regular investing couldn't capture that. But of course, this is unique to this situation. A weekly regular investing would have captured things a lot better. So what do you realize? If we average down for 16 weeks, we will pick up a lot of volatility points and the dollar cost average would be very effective. So that's an interesting food for thought. If you are concerned, lump sum investing put, you're afraid of the market timing, then maybe this idea of this 5,000, break it down to weekly, is something very interesting for you to consider. So with that, I'll end off my presentation. Hopefully you benefited. Look for my links below because I actually have affiliate link with them and you get a 6 months free waiver of things. With that, share this video with any friend who should also see. With that, I sign off. Take care and goodbye.